So today I want to have a conversation about demystifying priorities. Just the moment I say priorities, your mind starts to thinking about what do I need to do, where do I need to start. So I thought I'd take you on a short journey today with a client who came to me who said, I want to be mayor, and I know the one person that can get me there is you. There's so many expectations that come up once we start looking at something we're committed to, or once we make up our mind we want to get started. So today I want to support you in not making the mistakes that I've made and others around having our priorities come from a different place other than what to do. So leadership actually begins in language, not in tactics. I know that's kind of radical. If you start with the tactics, you're literally going to have the conversation or the work be totally transactional, which is insufficient for you to produce the results you want. And so you'll start to see that as I unpack this conversation. So the first thing leaders really want to do is they want to get into a whole lot of activity. They want to come up with these strategies, want to come up with schedules, you want to come up with messaging, you want to come up with all these things. But in the midst of all that flurry, what you're really doing is being in a lot of motion, but there isn't any real movement that's substantial, that takes you closer and closer to where you want to be. So what we want to start looking at then is, if I start out with movement, I'm absolutely collapsing leadership with efficiency and optics, versus providing leadership, I'm driven by my objectives. So what we're going to look at first then is, if you don't have a word, priorities begin to scatter and the future doesn't have a real anchor. It's all about what to do. So you're not really anchored inside of your word, what you said you would do. So we actually want to start out with a measure. Let's start out with, what are we measuring? Now, we're not talking about numbers. We're talking about the quality of the work we do. We're talking about the quality of the relationships, the quality of the conversations. And to do that, we got to establish, what kind of mayor does she want to be? What kind of person does she want to be for the people? And what promises is she willing to make based upon that measure? So let's just say the measure for her race is a town that experiences a leader who listens, protects, and convenes across differences. That's very different from, I need to get 2 million people to register to vote and to go to the polls. That's a very different outcome when I'm shifting it from the numbers and shifting it to, what do I want folks to experience as I become mayor? So once we spoke together and we came up with measures, things started to get unmuddled. It started to get clear. And then the question becomes, who will you be in language to make that measure real? So we want to say that leadership actually lives in a word. It doesn't live in emotions and feelings, all of the things that we think about. It's not about your identity. It's actually a word that sets the attitude of your presence. So we want to have the word organize our decisions, organize our stance and our commitment. So her word became the protector of the town's dignity and future. So you're literally standing inside of that measure, and then you look to see what actions you need to take, because that word does organize your commitments. It organized her commitments, rather, more powerfully than any strategy session could have done. This is where real priority is born. It's where now it's not about the numbers. It's not about getting somewhere, but the priorities, my people. The priorities, the town, and the folks that live in it, and the quality of life they get. See, you don't need to do more. That's the biggest piece to get. You don't need to do more. You don't need to accomplish less. We're not chasing votes. We're not trying to manage impressions and clicks. We're not working harder to fulfill the future. That's where misaligned priorities cost us the future we said that mattered. So once her word was clear, the noise in her head disappeared, because now it wasn't about outcomes, objectives. It was now about What's my word? The race shifted from performance to stewardship. She wasn't chasing numbers, she was causing coherence. And just think about it. When you're not chasing numbers, what you're looking for is how can I have the culture of this town, the community aligned together inside of a common good. That only happens when we lead from our word. We lead from a commitment. And we're calling that the measure. By the way, she won. She won mayor. Not because she campaigned harder than her opponents, but because she became the mayor in language before she ever asked for any votes. So here's what we're closing with. Before the priorities, before the plan, choose your word. Let that word shape you. Let that word have your steps be altered. Have that word have you looking into the future rather than broadcasting out to folks to beg them for votes. Leadership is about sustaining that unfolding future, and in her case, the unfolding future of this town that she so loved and grew up in. Language is the key. We speak first, then we do, then we have. The work we do at Future Us is not really about tips and techniques. It's actually more about how to think about things, how to be before we begin to do the things we need to do and then have the results. So that's pretty much how we'll be doing these videos in the future. So give you a shot at how to think about it first, which gives you so much more power, I promise you. If you liked what you heard today, I'm inviting you, first of all, to acknowledge that by clicking and subscribing to our channel. But even beyond that, I'm inviting you to take what we talked about today and put it into action. And you can do something very simple. And you can do it in ordinary things like you're getting ready to go to school today and lead your course with your students. How about looking at creating a measure first? Like who you're gonna be for those students, and watch how the classroom takes off. And let me know what you learn. And anybody else got some ideas about where you want to start with a measure, I want you to do that and let me know how your day went, what the results were like for you, and what kind of experience did you have in living from your word versus living from outcomes and objectives. Thank you.